I'm glad you recovered so quickly.
Well, I guess I'll start with this one. It's number one.
Is that number one?
Number one.
Michael's starting with number one.
This is something I just found recently in a trunk in the sewing room, and it's called it's just a child sweater dryer. You just put a sweater on it, and it'll dry the sweater. So, and very specific tools.
About a year ago, he thought I was second PT. He didn't.
So that was a sweater dryer.
Yeah. And this is number two, I believe.
Sweater dryer.
And it is called a chimney cap. And a chimney cap sets at the top of your chimney, right above the chimney crown. It serves several purposes, including it keeps the rain out of your chimney, and not only does your chimney cap keep water out of your chimney, it also keeps sparks and embers in, and it protects your home from the chances of a roof fire. And I didn't know what that was till I looked it up on the internet, because I had no idea. Then number three, it's just a handheld cream separator. Handheld cream separator. That's a very good question, and I should have looked that up, and I didn't.
So it really was a type of a stringer.
And number four here, I think most of you knew what it was, but it just has such an interesting history. It's an embosser, and it belonged to the Stafford County Ku Klux Klan way back in the old days. And if anybody wants to make an emboss of it, I brought a little pad of paper, and you're welcome to stamp it if you'd like. But that's some pretty strange history for Stafford County. Did anybody recognize what these are? They're just tools to make latch hook rugs. And that was a popular craft thing in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Latch hook rugs, you would put the yarn on it, and then it would go into a little square plastic thing, and then you can make a picture. This is called a darning egg, and it is an egg-shaped tool, sometimes made of stone, porcelain, or wood. It's inserted into the toe or heel of the sock to hold it in proper place and shape, and so you can provide a foundation when you want to make repairs on your socks. And this is similar. It's called the Darning Anvil, and it was used between 1880 and 1890, and this one's made out of maple wood, and it was also used to repair socks. And on the internet I learned they are considered to be one of the top 10 most useless tools that we can't seem to part with. I think some folks guess this might be a cigarette case, but what it was is actually a needle case from World War I. Soldiers would use it to keep their needles in for repair and things like that. And did anyone know the proper name for this? It's a Bobbin Lacing Kit, and the craft was called Bobbin Lacing. And this particular one belonged to Marge Walker. And this is a little piece of bobbin lacing that she made from it. And you're welcome to look at that closer if you'd like.
Is that kind of like tatting?
It's kind of like tatting, except they had pushed all these little pins in and then wrapped the thread around the pins. I also have a book about it, if anybody wants to look at it. In fact, I could just pass it around if you want to take a look at it. It tells more about it. You want to pass it down for me?
I had a little lady like pass that down. Get that figured out.
And this item is something that was donated to the museum in 2008 by Charles and Rebecca Welsh, and I had no idea what it was, and neither did they. And just today, Martha looked it up on the Google Lens and found out that it was, I've already forgotten what it was called, but it was used to push the clothes into the wringer washer. And and David pointed out you could also scoop the clothes out of the water with it without getting your hands in the water and push it through the wringer. So I was happy to learn something today. And then David figured out what this was for me. I didn't know what it was either. Somebody at the museum tried to tell me it was a flute, and I just didn't believe that. And David says it's a, remind me what you said, David? A keg?
Keg tap.
Keg tap.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm happy to know what that is too. And I just brought this because I thought it was kind of neat. It was my grandmother's sewing caddy, and Connie's grandmother also. I didn't have a number on this one, but this item was a woodworking gauge.
Yeah. Where?
Wood square? Yeah.
Okay. I put down T-square, I had half of it.
What was that?
Very good.
Was that number 10, Michael?
It didn't have a number on it.
Okay.
We made it 21.
Oh, 21, okay.
Yeah, 21. So number 9, did anyone guess what these items were?
It's hair, made out of hair.
Very good, yes, they're human hair jewelry. Jewelry's been made out of human hair for centuries, but these are from the Victorian period where it was very popular, and they were used as mourning jewelry. When people would mourn somebody, they would.
Wasn't that the hair of people who died?
Right. And I'm not sure what this is. I didn't write it down. I know it's a military thing, and I believe it was used to make bullets or musket balls or something. Somebody might recognize it.
Does the museum have a spinning wheel?
We have a small one.
A small one?
Yeah. And then I heard somebody guess what this was. They said they have one, right? It's a cricket. And it was used as an early identification device. The cricket enabled paratroopers to communicate with each other under total darkness and surrounded by enemy forces as they landed and scattered and out of position on the beach. The instructions were to click once to call for an identification and respond with 2 clicks to signal as a friend rather than be recognized as a foe. The cricket was only meant to provide recognition during the landing and was to be discarded after that, fearing that the Germans would learn of the device and use it against our troops. And that was in World War II.
How old is it?
Probably 80 years old or so. I know that they also made them as toys when I was a kid. I remember you could buy them, but one of my volunteers told me what it really was.
I had one actually.
And I'm not sure exactly what this is. I believe it's a military gas canister. This was in the ladies' parlor. I don't know exactly what it would have been used for.
It's a clothes brush.
A what?
A clothes
A
brush.
clothes brush. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
For men, for hair.
Learned something else.
I said in that brush. So then another one.
You'll have one too.
This is called the Copper Engraving. It's a design which is incised in the reverse on a copper plate, sort of like a negative. This is then coated with the printer's ink, which remains in the incised lines when the plate is wiped off. Damp paper is put on the plate and the 2 are put into a press. The paper soaks up the ink and produces a print of the original. This copper plate was actually originated in St. John, and when I first started at the museum, a lady in North Carolina donated about 8 of these to our museum, and she not only donated them, but she also had prints made off of all of them, and so we were able to see the photos. And these are photos from from the Waldron College, which I believe was here in St. John. And then there's also some from the high school, but these are just the ones I brought with me.
Copper Engraving. I said that's a chemical, so.
And then David brought this in, which is kind of related, and I might let you tell the story of that, David.
I was back in the back of the Shepherd Center. Let me get you zoomed in here. In the lead recycling room, there's a big kiln back there with a big pot where they took lead and remelted it so they could use it to print papers. And this was back there. I don't know whether they're going to remelt that or what they were going to do, but that was in that room in the back. Yeah, it's part of the old newspaper.
And this is a map of Stafford County with the townships spelled out, and I think it was probably used in one of the plat books that we have, I imagine. So you're welcome to come up and take a closer look at that. I think you donated that to our museum,
Yeah.
Is that right? Thank you so much.
What year is that map?
I don't know if there's a year on it. Let's see if it's backwards, it would be. I'm just not sure. The plat books were made in 1904 and 1916, so it might be from one of those, but I'm just not positive of that.
Interesting how that came along.
Where am I at here? And I don't know the name of the game, but this was just simply a piece from a game that was sort of like horseshoes. So I guess you would throw this onto a pole or something.
It wasn't the flare plant.
And as a couple of people guessed, this is a piece from the Southwestern Bell switchboard that used to be in the back of our bank building upstairs. And the Southwestern Bell switchboard was there from 1910 until 1965. And then we have a picture of the ladies working at the switchboard here. I'll pass it around and let you look at it. It used to be a really busy place. This item is did anybody guess what it was?
Yeah. It's a
It's an
scale
egg
for
weigher.
eggs. Yeah.
Egg weight, okay. I
Yeah. It was from Dr. E. Boyd's hatchery, and it was donated by Gertie Reed. And I'm guessing what this is. I think somebody at the museum told me this was used. Right. It was used to, I think you would put this in the bull's nose, is that right?
Have a rope through that, pull that rope and tighten that in on the nose.
And then, was that to lead them around or to have control of them?
Control.
Okay. So, doesn't look very pleasant, does it? Yeah.
Somebody would have.
And how about these things? Did you guess?
Keep calves from sucking.
That's right. They were to stop the calves from. They were called calf weaners, and they were to keep the calves away from the mothers, where they wouldn't try to nurse. Yeah, put on the cow's nipples, and that's also what that is. And this was another unknown, and I think David said it was used in a machine shop.
It's a tap and die handle. Half of it's missing.
Oh, okay.
The other is half.
Okay.
It's in a file over there.
Okay. And the only reason I know what this is because the tag says this was used to measure a wagon wheel rim for replacement.
Yeah. Wagon wheel,
So that goes back a few years.
showing the locations on there around the wagon wheel.
And this item, it says it's engraved Stafford Grain and Supply Company, Stafford, Kansas.
Dip wheat for testing.
Very good, yes. Grain bin sampler, yes. I think that was everything. Yeah, that's all I have.
And did you know what up at the top of your paper, did you know what those three things were up at the top?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what those are.
The middle one looks like ice tongs.
Yeah, it looks like it is kind of a tong thing.
Are these for hair?
Yes, those are barber tools.
Yeah.
Mhm. Letter C is barber tools.
Number C is barbecue?
And hair, you know, and they had the curling iron for the women and the razor.
You know, they put those curling irons down at the top of the
The lamps.
The lamps.
The-
They
Yeah,
went
they
on top
came
of
from
them.
above, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, on top of the lamps to heat them.
Anybody know A?
Carpenter tools.
Okay, woodworking. B is an apple picker.
An apple picker.
Apple picker, that's what they said.
No, that
It-
one in the middle.
You got a hold of it and pulled that out and it pulled the apple off the tree. Looked like a lot of work to be simpler to use your
I said it
hand.
was square.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me today. I had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. Come and visit us at the museum sometime if you feel like it.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you.